The subway rattled through the late evening, its dim lights flickering above tired passengers. Among them sat a young woman clutching a worn-out handbag, her eyes heavy with exhaustion. Her name was Emma, a single mom working 2 jobs just to keep food on the table for her little boy. That night, after finishing a grueling shift, she boarded the train home, hoping only to rest her aching feet. But the weight of endless responsibilities pressed harder than she could bear. As the train swayed gently, her eyelids surrendered. Without realizing, her head tilted and found an unexpected resting place, on the shoulder of the man sitting beside her. The man stiffened for a moment. He was tall, immaculately dressed in a tailored suit, and carried an aura of quiet authority. His name was Daniel Hayes, a CEO known in the corporate world for his ruthless decisions and sharp instincts. Strangers rarely dared to lean close to him, yet here was a young woman, fast asleep, trusting him unknowingly. Other passengers noticed, some whispering and smirking. "She doesn't know who that is," one murmured. But Daniel didn't push her away. For the first time in years, he allowed the moment to linger. Something about her frail posture, the dark circles under her eyes, and the protective grip on her handbag stirred something unfamiliar in his chest: compassion. When the train screeched to a halt, Emma jolted awake, embarrassed beyond words. She stammered an apology, clutching her bag to leave. But Daniel's next words stopped her cold. Emma's face burned red with embarrassment as she scrambled to stand. "I'm so sorry, sir," she whispered, gripping her bag like a shield. "I didn't mean to." "Sit," Daniel said firmly, but not unkindly. His deep voice carried authority, yet there was no anger in his eyes. "You look more exhausted than anyone I've met in years. Rest." Emma hesitated, her instincts urging her to walk away. People didn't usually offer her kindness. But something in his calm demeanor disarmed her, so she sat back down, still clutching her bag. Daniel studied her carefully. She wasn't wearing designer clothes or carrying the polished look of city professionals. Her jacket was faded, her shoes worn, yet her eyes, though tired, held a quiet strength. "You work late?" he asked. Emma gave a small, nervous laugh. "2 jobs, actually. A diner in the morning and cleaning offices at night. It's not glamorous, but it keeps the lights on for my son." Her voice cracked slightly on the word son. Daniel felt a strange tug in his chest. He hadn't thought about family in years, not since burying himself in boardrooms and billion-dollar deals. The train screeched again, and Emma stood quickly. "This is my stop." She offered a quick smile. "Thank you for not minding." Before she slipped out, Daniel asked, "Your name?" She paused. "Emma." And then she was gone, swallowed by the crowd. Daniel leaned back, unsettled. He didn't know why, but the image of the weary young mother clung to him long after the subway doors closed. The next morning, Daniel sat in his glass-walled office on the 40th floor, overlooking the city skyline. His assistant handed him a file, but his mind kept drifting back to the tired woman from the subway. Emma. Why did her face linger when thousands passed him daily? That afternoon, fate answered. Daniel had a last-minute meeting in one of the office towers his company owned. As he stepped into the lobby, he froze. There, in a janitor's uniform, scrubbing the marble floor with worn hands, was Emma. She noticed him too, and her eyes widened in shock. She quickly looked away, as if embarrassed for him to see her like this. Daniel walked over. "Emma," he said softly. She stiffened. "Mr. Hayes?" she whispered, realizing now who he was. His name was everywhere, on billboards, in the news. The powerful CEO she'd leaned against in the subway. Her cheeks flushed. I'm sorry. Please don't tell anyone. I can't lose this job." Daniel frowned. "You think I'd get you fired? Emma, last night you taught me more about resilience than half my board of directors." She blinked, confused. "I was just tired." "Exactly," he replied. "Yet you keep moving. For your son." His gaze softened. "Tell me about him." For a moment, Emma hesitated. But something in his tone wasn't pity, it was genuine interest. Slowly, she began to speak about her little boy Oliver, 6 years old, bright, full of dreams, but missing so much because his mother worked endlessly to keep them afloat. Daniel listened intently. And for the first time in years, the CEO felt human again. Over the next week, Daniel found reasons to pass through that lobby. Sometimes he'd stop for a brief word, other times just to watch Emma working with quiet determination. He was fascinated by her strength, and troubled by the thought of her son growing up with so little. One evening, he found her cleaning an empty conference room. "Emma," he began, "I've been thinking. You shouldn't be scrubbing floors after working 2 jobs. You're capable of so much more." She laughed softly, shaking her head. "With all respect, Mr. Hayes, no one's lining up to hire a single mom with no college degree." Daniel's jaw tightened. "What if I was?" Emma froze, mop in hand. "What do you mean?" "I want you to come work for me," Daniel said. "Not as a cleaner. I see potential in you, your grit, your dedication. People like you are rare." Her eyes filled with tears, but she quickly wiped them away. "Why would a CEO care about someone like me?" Daniel's voice lowered. "Because once, a woman like you saved me too. My mother worked herself to the bone so I could study. Without her, I'd have been nothing. When I saw you on that subway, it felt like fate reminding me not to forget where I came from." Emma's lips trembled. Part of her wanted to believe him, but fear held her back. Accepting help had always led to disappointment. Seeing her doubt, Daniel gently added, "Emma, this isn't charity. It's a chance. For you, and for Oliver." Her son's name broke her last wall. With a shaky breath, she whispered, "I'll try." Weeks passed, and Emma's life began to transform. Daniel placed her in a training program within his company, giving her flexible hours so she could still care for Oliver. At first, she felt out of place among polished professionals. But her determination shone through, and soon, colleagues began admiring her resilience. Oliver, too, blossomed. No longer left with babysitters every night, he had dinners with his mom, bedtime stories, and even trips to the park. And sometimes, Daniel himself joined them. What began as a chance encounter grew into something deeper. Daniel found himself smiling more, caring more. Emma reminded him of the values he had lost in the chase for success: kindness, humility, and family. One evening, as they rode the subway together, this time side by side, not strangers, Emma leaned her head gently on his shoulder again. But now, she did it without fear or apology. "Do you ever think," she whispered, "how one small accident can change everything?" Daniel smiled, his hand brushing hers. "I don't think it was an accident." Across the aisle, passengers who recognized the powerful CEO sitting with the once struggling single mom whispered in disbelief. But neither of them cared. For Emma, it wasn't about money or power, it was about finally being seen, valued, and given hope. For Daniel, it was about rediscovering the humanity buried beneath his empire. And together, they proved that sometimes, the most unexpected encounters can open doors to the most beautiful new beginnings.